Hey everyone, Dave here with Affordable Door and Gate. I hope you're doing well. So Nathan reached out to me. He wanted to know how to balance out life and work in the garage door industry. So I got some good tips. I'm going to kind of go off. I might go off a little bit because this is a very, very deep subject to me personally. And I can't fit it in a compressed video like this. It's many years of many years. So anyways, he writes here, he says, hey, like watching in the videos. He says, how do you balance work, home, and life? He says he's having his first child. Congratulations for the first child. My hat's off to you. I want to let you know with the kids, I remember when I was having my first kid, I was scared as hell. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to maintain this, care for this thing, take care of this thing? This is actually a picture of my first child. She's grown up, obviously, and they're really not that bad. They're really not. There's some diapers, there's some challenges, but it's a great roller coaster. It's a great joy. It's a love that you can't describe. And you'll get through it. You will. You'll find a way. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some of the things I've learned through my years in the garage door business. And remember, guys, I'd love to hear your comments. You can always email me at the daveadubson@gmail.com. That's what always kind of inspires these videos for me because I'm out here to help you guys. I really am. And I love these kind of emails. So Nathan, thank you for the email again. So he's also says on here, he's starting to panic over jobs. I have lined up how many I'm going to be able to balance with work and family. I like more busy hustle and bustle now than ever. So he's been busier. So he's probably growing in the business. And he don't want to neglect the family or business. And he told me have a good weekend or a good week. So thank you. So here's the thing. This is kind of how I've always looked at it. And it's tough. It's really tough. Like I said, I have a hard time even making this because it's very emotional to me. You have to you have to remember that typically as a man, you're the one that leads the way. I'm not saying that's everybody's situation. And like I said, this is my personal situation. Everybody's on different levels. Life, financially, spiritually, everything. But you have to remember as a man, we're the leaders, typically. And if our dreams die, our family dies. Does that kind of make sense? And it's not that our family doesn't help us, because they do. You know, especially if you got a wife. They're a huge help. Girlfriend, anything. Moms, dads, everybody's contributing, right? It's a tribe. And hopefully, like for me, I'll give you kind of examples for me. I was very fortunate on my side and my wife's side that we had a good support system. And that was very important. It helps a lot. Especially with somebody that can nurture and watch the kid for you, especially if your wife works. You have to remember that a lot of times when it came down to it, I didn't do the numbers. I went out and killed, right? I was killing. I was out killing and dragging it home. You know what I mean? And it was like, I drag it home and it's like, here, process it, skin it, freeze it, Ziploc bag it. You know what I mean? But I wasn't paying attention like, oh my gosh, this food or this stuff I'm harvesting maybe is taking too much energy. It's not enough to feed the family. I'm going too far. I'm gone too long. You know what I'm saying? So it's a really hard balance. And for me, it's like a garden. You have to plant the seeds, right? And then sometimes you have to weed the garden. You have to water the garden. You have to get sunlight on the garden. You have to keep the rodents out of the garden. There's a lot of variables in this business. So a family, a network helps a lot. Shortly, I'm gonna tell you some things you can do to kind of relieve yourself or combat some of these problems. But I still remember, even to this day, right? Because the thing you start figuring out is there is a lot of sacrifice. And that's what it takes. And it's not to say you can't balance it. But unfortunately, you're held to the mercy of your customers in this business. I always think of it as like you're a fireman, you know what I mean? Or a tow truck driver, especially if you're doing probably more or less residential, even commercial does this to you, right? Because these things all have timelines. You know, a broken spring, how fast can you get here? You tell them you'll be there in 2 days, they're not going to accept that. You have a construction guy, you have a window, right? You do a job, it's like the picture here, right? This was done on the weekends. Why was it done on the weekends? You didn't have to do it on the weekends. I didn't want to deal with traffic. There's like 20 cars that come through here in an hour. I didn't want to deal with the traffic. On the weekend, they're closed. And that's why I always try to tell you guys sometimes, like, hey, you might want to think a little differently. You know what I mean? You might want to keep reaching for something else, because I didn't know it. You just keep hustling and grinding. And eventually you start realizing that, you know, some of these customers are not your friends. They don't care about your family. They just want cheap price. They know you'll be the sucker that will do the job and get it done. But that's what it takes. You know what I mean? If it depends on how fast you want to go. You know what I mean? If you want to go slow, you can do whatever you want. If you don't want to make any kind of money, you know, if you don't want to grow, you can always slow it down. You can say, well, I only work from this to this, and this is my schedule. Sorry. It's your choice. It's a very mental. Sometimes the power of no. For me, I wanted to go fast, man, and I did. You know, over millions of dollars of sales, and like I said, you realize, wow, what are you left with? You know, and you're left with a lot of burden sometimes. So I'm going to tell you some of the things you can kind of do to kind of combat this. So we'll get into that. Show you this short clip because this is what I was doing at night. And it's just an example, you know, when everybody's out sleeping, this is what I was doing. And with kids sleeping.
I want to make a short little video why I like a service van for doing garage door installs.
So everybody's out sleeping, you know, and like I said, this is why I still love the vans, right? I got to go home, and this job is basically an hour away. So home's an hour away. It's one way. And these are the things you get caught up in that probably shouldn't have done, but it was paying the bills. The wolf was at the door, and you do what you got to do.
Let's see if I can set this here.
Just to give you a little context, I'm in a bay right now. This is actually a car wash bay. There's 2 of them on this building. So I'm backed up into it, and the door is obviously behind me. And there's a door in front of it too, so it's a pass-through.
As you can see, I got tons of garbage. Tons of it. And if I had to put this in a pickup truck, probably wouldn't be a good case. So, I'll show you how much you can package with service van. Especially when it's, let me take a look here. Oh, it's 12:17 in the morning. Yeah. The last thing I'm worried about right now is trying to impress anybody with my vehicle. I don't know if you can see that. Let's see if that'll zoom in there. 12:17 a.m. Things I do for my customers. Oh. You wonder why I take the day off or do something. Because I worked all night. I'm tired. Most of the time I don't take the day off. Oh, yeah, here we go.
So I don't know if you can hear that, but sometimes I'll take the next day off or I might not work, but 9 times out of 10 I'm working. You know what I mean? I have to, right? Because everybody depends on me for the scheduling. I'm the captain of the ship. And sometimes I'm the secretary. I'm answering phones. Sometimes I'm doing sales. I'm doing estimates. But this is the thing that you're doing. You know what I mean? You're sacrificing, you know, because and the thing is, guys, nobody cares about it, right? Nobody cares about it. But I do, and I care about you guys because I made a lot of mistakes. And I tell you what, there's just things that you can do and you can do it better. But I didn't know any better. You just got to work, right? Got to keep moving, got to keep the money flowing, got to keep the customer happy. Yeah, I'd have to wait till rain day to do this. That didn't work for my schedule. You know what I mean? It's not always a matter of you can sell, right? I can sell the bejesus out of stuff. You know what I mean? I can make money all day long, but can you deliver? And how's it fit into your schedule? And how's it going to fit with the customer? And how you guys going to combine it? There's a lot of variables that we run into.
Here's the good stuff. Here's the good stuff. This stuff right here. If you had a pickup truck, you try to put this in that, it'll go off. It's snowing like a banshee out right now, so nobody will probably care. But Johnny Law might, and I tell you what, I don't need no problem with Johnny Law. Well, I'm gonna do it.
And this is a typical situation, right? Like I said, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but I'm talking about Johnny Law, the cops. That last thing I need is I'm putting this stuff in the back of a truck. I'm trying to strap it with ratchet straps that don't work with the hoonie. And the stuff blowing out, I get pulled over at 1 o'clock in the morning, right? It just gives them a reason, right? All these variables, because if I get pulled over at 1 o'clock, they're going to assume I'm probably drinking. They're going to see me as a contractor. They think I'm going to come from the bar. They're not going to believe me that I've been actually out working. Probably they smell one whiff of mouthwash or a piece of gum in my mouth. It's going to be pull me out, do an interrogation on me, get the sniff dog. The sniffy doggy's going to find something, right? And not that I have anything, but the inconvenience, you know what I mean? And yes, I want to be home sleeping. I do.
I think I'm just going to hightail it home. I'm going to dump all this crap in my garage and worry about tomorrow. Go up in the Horker Joe.
And this is a common problem being a contractor. You're always dealing with a mess, right? I took care of this customer. I had to put a temporary door in is what I'm doing. Somebody ran into it. So I'm putting a temporary door in for them. And I'm throwing this mess in. I think this is somebody else's service vehicle for some reason. Or I don't, because I don't remember this van so much as mine. But I have to go home, right? And I have to dump this in my garage, right? So it's ready to go for the next morning for the next guy, right? So there's a lot of messes you're cleaning up sometimes.
He's got a clean vehicle to start with tomorrow. I ain't gotta worry about them problems. But yeah, the life of being a garage door installer. Oh, it's a wonderful life. Yeah. There's stuff to do. Anyways, I'm gonna clean this up. I'll let you guys get to sleep. Peace.
That's right. Good night, Irene. So here's another one of us doing a commercial job late at night. I actually got the wife help me. I brought 2 kids on this one. And these are just things you do, right? I mean, nobody's around. OSHA's not bothering you. No contractor. You just got to do what you got to do. So here's how to level out the trend a little bit that I've learned. So one was whatever your job is, right? You leave a little bit of time in the day. Load up the night before. Load your material up the night before. I cannot stress it enough. You know what I mean? Because at least then you're going to figure out if you're missing something in your brain. And then for me, I can relax at night, right? I got my job set up tomorrow. I got everything loaded. So loading up any kind of materials, whatever job you're doing, commercial, residential, fencing, gates, whatever, get that stuff ready for the next day so it's ready to go. Because there's still going to be hiccups, but not as many. So another thing to consider is only take service calls up to noon. That was something that really helped out my business and the reason I say that is don't be taking the service calls at 2, 3, 4 o'clock. You know what I mean? Because for whatever reason, when that customer gets you on the phone, and they're, I got a sorry, you missed our deadline. We only take service calls, up to noon. I can schedule you for the next day. And sometimes, unfortunately, just depends on how hungry you are, right? I was hungry, right? So I had to work late and all that kind of stuff. But you got to say no. Say, I can schedule you for tomorrow if that works, and leave it up to them. That can open up all kinds of varieties, right? Because now they're going to call other people and they call you back or they won't call you back. So that's why you have to be so dedicated on that phone to make sure you call and text them and verify that they're ready for you and you're going to show up the next day, and just don't show up. You can make sure you call them and say, hey, are you still, I'm planning on heading out your way, and be ready for them to change it up on you, because that's just how it goes. I think sometimes you got to remember that you can't do everything yourself, and you're in control, right? But everything you set the tempo, right? You're the ones with the sticks and, or the stick and waving it for the orchestra. Another thing that was always helpful is find a good mechanic. I would give too much belief in somebody, right? They're just having an off day. They're doing this and do that. Once I realized with secretaries, with employees, with mechanics, with just a whole broad of things, that typically it comes down to the human, right? It starts with the human. Are they trustworthy? Are they honest? Do they do good work? Are they good craftsmanship? Do they try to take pride? Do they tell you when they did wrong? Those are some huge things that I took for granted. So a picture here is a van that I took it to another mechanic. He screwed something up. This mechanic basically did this free of charge because he messed one little thing up with a spark plug. I ended up paying him out of the kindness of my heart, but he wanted no money. And we did a lot of business with him. Great mechanic. Find a good mechanic. Find people that can help you in the business. Family, watching kids, or you might even have to consider if the wife stays home. Maybe she's working right now. Crunch the numbers. Sit down and look at the numbers. Is it making sense? The fuel, the insurance, what is she doing? If we pay daycare, what's it going to cost? I love numbers because numbers don't lie unless you do them wrong. But they don't lie. And so when you sit down and sometimes do the math, you'll realize what you're looking at, and you're going, wow, she's only making $50 a week. Man, she could go pick up pop cans with a kid and get fresh air on the side of the road. I'm joking. It's just things to think about. Another thing to consider is don't do jobs that only you can do. For example, right here is a picture of the Wizard Wash. I did the car wash, right? And I was the only one that could do it. I only had the right, the material for it, stainless steel, everything, rollers, everything. I knew how the whole system worked. I knew how to run the computers inside. I knew how to run the machines. I was the only one that could do it. And every time I tried to train somebody, they'd screw it up. And there was only certain times we could do it, right? If it was a blizzard, if there was a tornado, if it was raining, midnight. So those are things you might want to consider not getting into that will consume a lot of your time. So keep that in mind. To keep in mind is that, remember, everything you buy, you have to fix. You have to maintain. You have to insure. You have to either find a mechanic. You have to fix the brakes, the oil changes, the hydraulics, whatever it is. Just remember, I had this theory, right? I kept thinking that, as the business revolved and went on, I need to get another service truck. I need to get another this. I need to get another that. I need to get, this is going to help. This is going to help. A lot of times you're adding more problems. So remember, sometimes, keep it small, keep it all. And just keep that in mind. Being a garage door tech service, basically a contractor, is a tough business. It can be a rewarding business, but you have a lot of variables. You have a lot of ups and downs, a lot of variables in your business. So just remember, though, enjoy the ride. Take it one stride at a time. Enjoy the kids while you can. Enjoy the family, because there's only one thing you need to fear, and that's death. And hopefully there's a unitement, up in the heavens. But just remember, right now, as long as it doesn't kill you, it'll only make you stronger. Enjoy it. Be grateful. Be kind, and sometimes you got to slow down. And sometimes you have to be the one that's in charge. And remember, if something doesn't feel right in the gut, it's probably not right. So say no. Say, I'd rather just disregard this. I'd rather not do it. I'm not interested. I'm sorry. You can be kind about it. But just remember, life will go on. The work will be there. Sometimes you got to open up the funnel, right? You got to do more advertising. You got to try to get more local. And I hope that helps. Nathan, I really appreciate the question. It's really touching to my heart. Like I said, I just scratched the surface of this. Just scratch the surface. I need to make some more. But if you guys email me or comment, I would love to hear it. And thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one, and you guys have a wonderful day.